everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Dayomi Unfiltered. I'm your host, Dayomi, and welcome to the space where we talk about things we feel or don't know how to talk about. So, before we get into today's conversation, we should take a few seconds to talk about my lip combo because this thing bangs. It bangs. Let's just get into today's topic. So, anyways, I'm going to be talking about a book I read recently, Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a psychological book. I love psychological books. So it's not exactly going to feel. It's not exactly a review. It's more of how the book changed my perspective to how I saw myself, and it's a way of me recommending the book to you guys or to anyone that loves psychological books. Or it's even a type of book that's for everybody. It's not a one person. If you have the time to read, it can even take you weeks. Just try to read this book, honestly. So, anyways, how I got caught up with this book 3 days ago. 3 days ago, yes, I was having a conversation with my uncle. I was having a conversation with my uncle, and it was just about books. I don't know. I don't even know what the conversation. It was about books. That's all I know. And then he brought up something. He said he was reading a book where they were talking about how your subconscious controls your conscious. And then I was like, that would be really interesting to read. Like, it would be a really nice thing. So as he was even talking, I already got interest. Like, I got interest in the book, and I went to check on TikTok to see people's like opinion about the book too. And I saw that people really appreciated this book. Like the book was not just a basic self-help book. So I picked it up. I got home. Not even that day, the day after, which was yesterday, I picked up the book, and I won't even lie to you. At first, it was boring. It was boring. It's it just felt boring. I will not lie to you. It felt until I got to the point of the book, or the part of the book where the book was not telling me to fix my life, but it was telling me to fix the image of myself inside my mind, because that inner image is what controls everything that I do. That was when I knew that me and this book we have entered the same Shokoto. So yes, we entered the same Shokoto, and I finished the book like 3 hours ago, 3 or 4 hours ago. Yep. So the main idea of this book, the main idea, it says you don't live your life based on who you are, but based on who you think you are. That is the main, I don't know, main story of the book, the summary of the book. You don't live your life based on who you are, but you live it based on who you think you are. And who you think you are, it's some sort of internal picture of yourself. It decides what you think you deserve, how you act in relationships, how you deal with people, the type of risks you take, how you respond to failures. It affects a lot of areas in your life. For example, when you think or when you feel you're not good enough, and then subconsciously you start to sabotage opportunities that come your way, or you start to ignore them, or when you see yourself as the shy one, and then you never learn to take space, you never learned to feel, or you never um stay, I don't know how to put it, or you never decided to stay in that position to be seen. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Or when you think that you are never consistent, and then your brain keeps telling you, like, keeps starting and stopping things before you finish them. So before this book, I did not realize that there was a version of myself I created years ago, like a version that was not even an accurate version of myself, but was an accurate version of the environment I was surrounded in. So let's talk about where our self-image first started from. Our, our self-image first started from childhood, when we were all born. from little comments that people said about when we started learning things, little comments, little failures. We started to form and develop the type of person we are. Then we started growing up and started having random experiences that gave us the idea of our true self, and then from the expectations that were placed on us by people. Like a lot of expectations changed the type of person you think you are. Yes. I don't I don't know. I think I'm confusing myself. So let me go back. Our self image first from childhood. It formed from childhood. From the type from the comments that we absorbed from people around us, from failures that we didn't that happened to us and we didn't really process, from random experiences that made us believe the truth about certain things which were actually lies, and from the expectations that people around us placed on us. So I realized that my self-image was not built by me, but it was built by the type of environment that I was in, type of people around me, teachers, families, insecurities, little fears, and so on. And I was even in a mental picture that didn't belong to me, but was based on people surrounding me. So the thing is that the psychological part of this book is that this book says your brain works like a machine that is following a program. Basically, the subconscious and the conscious. The subconscious is the program. Conscious is like you knowing what you're doing. Whatever identity you believe about yourself becomes your autopilot. You don't even realize you're doing that thing. For example, if your internal picture is you are inconsistent, your brain will continue helping you to stay inconsistent. If your internal picture is that you are anxious, you start seeing fears in little things and things that you're not supposed to find fear in. Yeah, there's some people like that they believe that they are anxious and everything scares them. Every little step scares them. And you know the scary part? The scary part is that your brain is not trying to ruin your life. Your brain is not a villain in your head, but it's just trying to keep your identity accurate. And the thing is, our brains, they are loyal to us, even if it's the wrong thing. They follow our command, they follow the program, and the program is the subconscious that has been created, that self-image that has been created. So now, after reading a few chapters, I started to catch myself. I started catching the inner voices, the lies I accepted as truth, and that's when I realized that I was not stuck. I can change my self-image. I can leave the image I thought was who I was behind and start living in a present one, and the type of person I want to be. So, for example, let me just give an example of how I how my self image affected who I was subconsciously. Who I am, not even who I am, I still am. I'm still working on it. So anyways, I have an Instagram page where I post poems that I write. There's a WhatsApp group, like it's an extension of this podcast. And what else? I think it's just, and yes, this YouTube, this podcast. The podcast itself, the Instagram page for my poems, the WhatsApp group that is the extension of the podcast, and this podcast itself. So generally, whenever I meet people and people that know me, people around me, they will tell me that I'm an inconsistent person. I start things and I tend to not finish them. So subconsciously, I noticed that this when I started reading that book, I noticed how it affected me. Cause on that Instagram page that I said I post poems on, I tried having a 30 days consistency challenge. Like three good times. I started 30 days consistency challenge, and I really want. It's not that I didn't want to. finish it. I really wanted to do it. The first time I posted for 3 days straight. Like I stopped at 3 days out of 30. Second time, I stopped at 5 days. The third time, I think I stopped at 10 or 11. Yes, out of 30 days. And it wasn't like I was doing this thing on purpose. Like I'll post something and say I want to start. When I want to start, I will be so serious. Like I'll write out the things. I would have written these poems down. Like I would have started preparing this thing like months ago and written them down to say that I want to post it. But the thing is that I don't know, my brain has just caught on to the fact that I'm inconsistent. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, now for example, this podcast. I started few years ago, like 2 years ago. I posted an episode 2 years ago. I posted another episode 1 year ago. And the last episode I posted again. So now it's giving the fact that see you're inconsistent. Well, that's not the type of person I want to be. I don't want to be an inconsistent person. I want to try to fix it and try to break out of that image of me being inconsistent. And yes, that's how your subconscious, when your the things people tell you, that's how it affects you without you knowing. It's not that you are going to be doing it on purpose. You're going to be saying that, oh, you know what, I'm not going to I'm going to stop this thing. I'm going to be incon. No, it doesn't work like that. The way it works is that you will not even know why you are doing it. You just do it. It's not when you now sit down and you think about it and you now be like, yeah, this thing is actually affecting me. So, anyways, we've come to the end of this episode, and I'm trying to make it as short as I can. We've come to the end of this episode. So, in summary, there are two parts to this book. To the book. What do I say? There are two parts that I want to talk about in context with this book. What am I saying? But anyways, I'm not cutting any part of this. I've said it, I'm not going to be cutting any part of these videos. You guys are going to see me for who I truly am, the clumsiness and the mistakes and everything. You're going to see everything. So yes, what was I saying? In summary, part one is talking about awareness, like you knowing that the problem is not that the problem is not your life, but it is the version of yourself that you have been carrying around, the subconscious. Yeah, it is the version of yourself, the environment, and how it affected you and changed your self image. And then part two, we are going to be talking about how we get into that real work, how we try to rebuild, change our identity, how to change that self image, um, like how to reprogram, as I said earlier, how to reprogram the machine and stop living like that previous you. Anyways, we have gotten to the end of this episode, and yes, take a second, take a few seconds. You guys, I use my front camera to record this video because I wanted to see how it would look. And it looks so nice. Everywhere I go, even if I'm going to go and buy something, this tip combo, I'll be doing it until I become one boss at it. Anyways, this is the end of today's episode, episode 3. I'm really glad you stayed to the end because I know this the whole thing was chaotic. So I'm really glad that you could watch this to the end. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can also comment your thoughts on about the episode in the comment section. I would really love to hear your perspective on it. And please don't forget to try to read this book because it's it's really going to change the way you see yourself. Anyways, see you guys in the next episode, which is the part 2 of this Psycho-Cybernetics review, something like that. Bye guys.